So now we're going to move into the asphalt portion of the presentation, and I'd like to introduce Kirsten Fowler with the Asphalt Pavement Association for the HMA update.
All right, good morning, everyone. And I want to thank you all for joining us virtually here. We've had, I think, between this group and the 3 regional meetings we had, nearly 500 total attendees participating in this year's regional meeting. So I want to thank IMAA for coordinating this and their work in setting up some of those regional meetings and INDOT's involvement. It was great to be back together again, and it's always a good thing to kick off a season, with updates. For those of you that I don't know, I'm Kirsten Fowler. I'm the Executive Director of APAI. Our other staff person is Jamie Hunkler, and the two of us work together to put on events and to reach out to our members and then partner with INDOT in what we can do to help the asphalt industry around our state. We've had a busy year as we've returned to in-person meetings, had a good winter conference this past December in Indianapolis with more than 600 attendees. So it was great to see everyone at that event. We continue to work through our committees and other outreach on workforce development, specification updates, environmental issues that are coming up. And so we just encourage you that if you aren't involved with APAI, maybe your company is a member and you've been looking for an opportunity to get plugged in, we're getting ready to go through a big restructuring of our committees. We're actually drafting committee charters that will give a great outline or information of what your obligations would be in joining a committee and what those committees are responsible for doing for our industry. So reach out to Jamie or myself if you do have interest in that. Do you want to mention a few of our upcoming events? Our Shooting for Scholarships event is this coming Tuesday. It's April 26th. We have a sold out event. I think close to 35 teams, which is a record for us. And I think we're projecting to raise more than $16,000 through that event on Tuesday. So we're excited for that. Our golf outing is always held at Trine University up at Angola, and that will be on June 17th this year. So if you do have interest in participating, registration's now open, so you can get signed up, get a team together, or sign up as an individual. Our summer meeting, we are like knee deep right now in planning for that event. We're really looking forward to it being a fun weekend. That will be July 15th through 17th, and that's in South Bend. And of course, we'll be back at the Marriott East this December for our winter conference. That's December 14th through 16th. So I know that's a lot of dates. All those dates and events are listed on our website, which is asphaltindiana.org. And we hope we'll be able to see you at a few of those upcoming events. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and keep us moving and introduce Jason Galeka. Jason is the Assistant Asphalt Engineer for INDOT, and he's going to be providing our asphalt update this morning.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and pull the presentation up real quick. All right, so welcome to the HMA portion of the regional meeting. My name is Jason Galeka. I'm the Assistant Asphalt Engineer at INDOT. Been here for about 4 years with this role. So first things first, we decided to switch to 2 consultant labs. We had an option to renew them after 2 years for our current contract, and we decided to keep one and get rid of the other one. So we had to reconfigure which side of the state and which parts each lab was going to be testing for the material for this upcoming season. So we decided to make a straight line right through the middle. We have Bluegrass doing the left portion of the state, which is LaPorte, Crawfordsville, and Vincennes. And our OMM INDOT Acceptance Center is going to be doing the right side, which includes Fort Wayne, Greenfield, and Seymour. So hopefully you guys have been aware of this by now. M&T website. So this is just kind of a refresher of things you guys should know or be aware of. We changed our approved products and sources list to qualified products and sources. It's all still the same approval list, just a different title, but those are all on the website. We have our HMA design labs, our ready concrete plans, all our ITMs, and those update pretty frequently. So it's always good to know where those are at and make sure you're looking at the current one. We also have testing memos, our certified list. This includes CAP, field supervisor, and ICAT. I would say it doesn't hurt to go in here and look at it every now and then to make sure you're actually proficient and make sure everything is updated on this list. And if not, you could always email me or Krista and we could update this list with your appropriate qualifications. We have our GSB list, which a lot of you guys should be using already with your new DMS for 2022. And we have our data views, which I will talk about a little later. So overview, things we're going to be talking about today include specification updates, our various HMA programs that have been released in the last couple of years, and some of our initiatives like our pilot projects, VRAM, spray paver, etc. First things first, spec updates. We got our RSPs. These are recurring special provisions, which would be implemented into the 2024 spec book. So the main update we had this year was in 401 R736. So we decided to put in the spec to use RPE as an alternative for joint sealant instead of SS1H or AENT. And in the table, you can see the application rate's a little different. Some of the benefits for RPE is it helps with the pavement markings adhering to the pavement, and it has a 48-hour cure time instead of a 5-day cure time. So if you're kind of crunched on time, you could always use RPE and get it done faster. Another update we have is about patching material. There's some situations kind of at the end of the year where you might not have hot mix and you just took a core and you need to fill that core hole. So we have a QPL, a qualified products list for rapid setting patch material. And if you go on there, there's a subsection called bridge deck repair material. And there's a list of various concrete materials that can be used to fill up those core holes. You can use anything on that list. Various states around us, such as like Illinois, and I think Kentucky, have been using cold concrete patch materials for core holes, and they haven't had any issues with it. So we decided to go ahead and start doing that too. And this applies for contracts that led after 6/1/2022. ITM updates, like I said, these are all online. They're always good to look at. They update various times throughout the year. There's 4 main ones that we updated. First off was ITM 571. We added the auto extractor as a method for extractions. I think we have about 3 or 4 producers that actually have these machines, so we do that in there for them. ITM 583, which is our certified HMA producer program. We put a little minor update for binder adjustments for SMA, for JMS. ITM 587, reducing sample size. We put more guidance on our quartering sample method, which we use for splitting the samples. And ITM 902 for sieve verification, which Matt discussed earlier, just updated the tables below. So ITM 571, INDOT will be using the auto extractors for 2022. And we put a little, here's what it looks like in ITM. It says there's 6 washes and 6 tries for HMA, and SMA uses 8. And we're always going to have the same number of wash as the try cycles. But we put this little blurb in Directive 304 saying that whatever method we use for extraction on a DMF will be used throughout the paving season. So we will not be switching between auto extractors and centrifuges. We will use auto extractors for everything in 2022, at least for INDOT. ASHTO updates. This is directly out of our HMA audit packet. I kind of highlighted some of the ones that recently changed just to let you guys know for your audits coming up this season, so you have the updated versions. And it's most of the main ITMs for, or the main ASHTOs for asphalt that changed: your gradations, your bulks, your max, your core lock. So go ahead and look at those, make sure you got the updated version before the audits and you're aware of the changes that were made. Directives, these are also on the website. I showed you Directive 304 earlier. These are internal procedures developed by INDOT. And I think HMA has about 6 of them. And here's those 6. Main one, like I said, is 304 QCQA hot mix asphalt procedures. And we also did update something else in there, which I'll show right here. Directive 304, we updated your gyratory specimens. So occasionally you'll make your pills. One pill will be more than 0.02 different from the other pill. Normally we would rerun the sample and see what the values are. Now we're saying that we have this A3 box, and if it's not being used for GSB testing or for an appeal sample, that we could use that sample to make new pills. Doesn't happen that often though. I think last year we had maybe 12 pills that were more than 0.02 apart. So it's nothing to really worry about, but it's just another alternative we can use to make sure that those pill values are correct. So modernizing workflow, this is all about our new programs, our cloud-based systems. We have our DMF entry, we have field assistant, lab testing, and HMA Pay Wizard. So DMF entry is used by you guys, the HMA producers, and our district testing, so INDOT. Lab testing is used by our testing facilities, Bluegrass and INDOT testing labs. This is where they put the data in before it goes into Pay Wizard. Field assistant and site manager are all used by our construction folks. And Pay Wizard, again, producers and all INDOT people. So this was a picture of our DMFs. This is just an overview screen. It shows you when it's created. You can see the status of it, whether it's accepted, approved, the type of mix, district. This did just change a little with the new DMF entry update on Saturday. So it might look a little different, but it's generally the same thing. You know, this is the actual DMF. You got your aggregates, your GSP values, binder, etc. So DMF entry was implemented in 2019 along with the lab testing. This is a picture of lab testing. This is their checking screen. They could see the R number, where the district is, and the DMF number, and they check it in showing that we have the sample in our lab to start testing, just to show ownership of the sample. And then this is a picture of the extraction tab. So they would see this and they'd fill out all these reddish color cells, and everything else will auto calculate. 2020, we implemented field assistant. And then, like I said, is used by our construction folks. It kind of helps them determine when the random number is. Here's a screen for their daily work reports. They could put the contractors on the job site. It's just something that they use in the field. And we also did Pay Wizard. So we had these Excel spreadsheets, and they were kind of clunky sending them out back and forth, the data, and it wasn't fast or real time. So we decided to do Pay Wizard. So most of you guys have seen this by now. It shows you all your sublots, and then further below you can see your pay factors. So DMF entry was only for HMA and open graded, but like I said, there was just an update, which I'll talk about in a minute right here. So this update just went live on Saturday. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen it by now. If not, I'd go in there and definitely look at it. Now, one of the big updates is it'll accept SMA. This includes JMFs and DMFs. And it's also going to act as a filing cabinet for various mix types, all our recycling, FDR, CIR, CCPR, and you can even assign them to contracts in DMF entry. I will say this system just came out Saturday, and the team did a lot of testing, but there's still always bugs you see after it's been released. There's just certain things you don't think to check, or just something happens that you're not aware of. So if you see any issues, contact CM support at indot.in.gov, and then contact me and Nathan, or copy us in that email, so we could see the solutions to the problems, because everyone else is going to be seeing the same issue, and we'll have the same result, same problems to resolve. So a couple of issues that they had were like the print view. I think a lot of last time with DMF entry, you had to go to the browser to print. Now there's like a menu button on the left, 3 lines, you would hit that and then hit print, and then it'll print your whole DMF on one screen. And another issue that we had is about RAS. If you put 0% RAS, it's saying that it's outside the spec limit, which isn't possible. But I know Kenny just released an update last night, and I'm not sure if that was part of the things that got fixed. But like I said, if there's issues, just let us know and we'll get those fixed right away, because you're not the only one having these issues. So another update we have is testing memo 1901. So pretty much this is saying if you had a GSB change in 2021, from me, I sent you an email saying it changed, and you referenced that DMF value you used last year will carry you over into the new DMF this upcoming season. And now with DMF entry, the whole GSB thing is all automatic. So you won't get any emails, notifications from me. You'll get notifications in ITAP. saying your GSB's changed, you'll be able to see all your test results on DMF entry or Pay Wizard. So don't worry about my emails, but you can always contact me if you want to verify this is the GSB, etc. But you should be able to see that. So Pay Wizard updates, this is a feature enhancement 2023. We're still trying to work on improving our systems. So by 2023, we're hoping to have open grade and SMA in there. And then we can finally get rid of all our acceptance lab workbooks, the Excel sheets. R numbers. The last couple of years, we've been saying these are super important. You need these to enter your QC data. If you don't have your R numbers right away, contact the districts or contact someone from materials and tests, and we could get you those R numbers. And then some things to let us know if you have a contract that needs to be rolled back, especially at the end of the season. Maybe it was supposed to be PWO, needs to go to volumetric, let us know. We could easily switch those. Or if something's stuck, and by stuck, I mean, say you have a PWL contract with 5 sublots, but you're not seeing your pay factors. That is something that we could easily fix. We just have to go in the system, but if we don't know about it, we can't fix it. Final tonnages, that's another thing at the end of the season. It usually shows 600 or 1,000, but we know that's not right. So when you get those final numbers, let the districts know so they could get those updated. Appeal windows. So we've had this in the spec for a while, 40109, saying that there's 7 days to put the QC data into, I guess now, Pay Wizard. This is important because we have this tool now to copy QA to QC. And what that means is if INDOT has test results and it's not getting put into Pay Wizard because there's no QC data, we could go in the system and use our data for QC, which will avoid your appeal out. So here's just a couple examples. These are from 211. They're way past 7 days. So we would go in here and copy our results to QC just to get those results to display. We don't want to take months or weeks to go through the whole appeal process and have test results just sitting there where no one can see them. So we need to make sure we're meeting our 7-day time window. So the real benefits, like I said, of all these systems is just data. It's real time stuff that we never had access to. We're not waiting around for emails for test results. It's all there. And like I said earlier, we had some data views on our website. The only one we have right now is our pay factors and comparisons. So if you click on that, you'll see this. The first screen is your pay factors. You can see by PWL, volumetric. You can see the sample year. It should go back to, I think, 2019, 2020. You can see each pay factor if you want. You can see what air voids looks like for volumetric contracts only. And then it'll break it down here by district. And it'll show you the average pay factor and how many samples they had. And I will say there's a date over here. I think that we found out sometimes this data is like a week or 2 behind. So just keep an eye on that too. And there's also a line graph to see by month. So like at this yellow line here, you'll see there's a big drop down because it's probably in March and there's only 1 sample. So you can't really, got to keep in mind the number of samples for that particular month too. And then we have our Delta screen. It looks exactly like this, but it's just obviously comparing your QC and QA results, which a lot of people like to see. Densities, we always like to show densities over the last 5 years to see how it was before when we had S4 and how it is now, how it's improved with S5. And last season we got an average of 94.75% density. So that's what we like to see. Pay factors. Again, we like to show the last 5 years. 2021, this was as of December. We were averaging 1.01 for lot composite pay factor statewide for PWO, which is good. And volumetric, last season we were averaging 1.02. All right, our HMA initiatives, like I said, this includes our pilot projects. We have a strategic steering committee, I'll just call it SSC. They have been working with us on getting these various projects implemented throughout the state consistently and coming up with the basis of use with us. So first one's spray pavers. So here's a little picture of a spray paver. All these machines are different, but for this particular one, there's 2 different spray nozzles. The first one is right here. It hits all the stuff in red, and you'll see it leaves spaces between the wheel paths because there's another spray bar at the end of behind the wheels that covers the wheel paths, so you're not getting any tracking going at all. So here's our various RSPs. We got one for HMA, one for SMA. HMA is 401, R 417. So the last couple of years, me and Nathan have been going through trying to find projects ahead of time to use for spray pavers. We always targeted 2 per district, but sometimes they wouldn't get let, and for various reasons. But now we made a design memo so the designers could implement or put spray pavers in a contract. So we came up with the basis of use for large interstates, 4-lane divided highways, HMA or SMA, and we're still trying to target 12 per year. But instead of me and Nathan picking projects, the designers are going to do that. I'm sure they have better visuals on the roads in their districts than we do. So like I said, the target's still the same, nothing to really worry about. So RSP update, we put an update in here saying that spray pavers can only be used on lanes that are 11 foot or wider. There's some areas where there's 10 foot or 8 foot. It's not even possible to use a spray paver there. So we put this in writing just so people didn't feel like they had to use a spray paver where they obviously couldn't. Other initiatives, VRAM. So here's a picture of VRAM. I'm sure most of you guys have seen this by now. It's been around for about 3 years, I think, in Indiana. Just as material, and it wicks up on the next lift to seal up the joint. Basis for use for this is implement approval by M&T. Like I said, we also got 2 different RSPs, one for HMA and one for SMA. HMA is 401, R 750. So the strategic steering committee decided we want to implement this by 2026 on all Cat 4 roadways. And like I said, in the meantime, M&T Technical Services payment will be selecting the projects until 2026. Our goal is to implement this next season, 2023. I think we got about 17 projects this upcoming season. We did just release a new construction memo, 2201. It came out last month, so hopefully you guys have seen that by now. If not, I would definitely look at that before you have an IRI project. And I would say, if you have any profilographs that need to get verified this season, contact Jim Rowman, or we just have a new hire that's also doing profilographs named John. So either one of those 2, contact them, and we will go ahead and get those verified for you. Last thing, I don't know if anyone's aware of this. We kind of push it every year. We have a website called tinyurl.com/HMA plants, and it just has locations of each plant by company and pictures. As this kind of helps us find the plants, especially when we go to audits, just aware it's out there. Any questions?
Jason, we did have a question come through, and the question is, for the auto extractors, do sample weights follow AASHTO or ASTM or ITM guidelines? Currently, ITM 571 requires 4,000 grams for a 25 millimeter. However, AASHTO/ASTM allows for 3,000 grams. Most auto extractors have sample size maximum of 3,500 grams.
That's a good question. Not sure if Nathan has anything to put to the chat. Well, for our ITMs govern the Astros and ASTM, so if our ITM say 4,000 grams, that's what we'll be using. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Maybe we can do a follow-up with Nathan as well, and get maybe a more detailed written response back to that one in the follow-up email. So are there any other questions before we end today? That's a good question. All right. Well, we will close out this webinar then. Thank you, everybody, for being online with us today. Thank you to all of the panelists who are on today for your presentations and your insight. If there are any additional questions after this webinar, please feel free to email them into me and I can distribute them out. Or if there are any other questions that you need to contact your district or your contacts at INDOT for, please send them emails. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to answer that for you. So thank you to everybody and have a great rest of your day.